Hey guys, Horror Man back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the Friday the 13th Part 5 A New Beginning Ultimate figure. Now, if you haven't seen this movie before, this review will contain spoilers. So before we go any further, I just want to warn you. Alright, so this is not a Jason Voorhees figure. It's actually an imposter, which is Roy as Jason. So this figure will be an Ultimate Roy, but yes, it is a Friday the 13th figure. On the front of the box, you just get the title, Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. You get to see the hockey mask with the glowing red eyes, which is pretty cool. Now, you actually don't see anybody wear this mask in the movie, which is kind of funny, but it does make for a cool cover. Over to the side, you get a cool picture of Roy with the hockey mask, and it just says the title. And of course, this is made by NECA Real Toys. Over to the other side, you get the same thing. And then onto the top, you just see the title and more warning, ages 17 and up, NECA logo. Over to the bottom, you do get to see who is responsible for making this figure, and UPC. And then over to the back, you get to see some really cool pictures of the figure itself in different poses with different weapons. And then you also see this really cool car, which kind of reveals what Roy did for a living. And then if you want to pause it, you do get a nice read-up of Friday the 13th Part 5, and it also lists the different accessories that the figure comes with. Alright, and then back over to the front, if you just pop this door open, you do get a really cool picture of Roy in his Jason costume. And then over to the front again, you do get to see Roy clearly displayed in the window and all of the accessories. So this is definitely a figure a lot of Friday the 13th fans have been looking forward to. And we've had a retro version of this figure before, but we've never had an actual Ultimate figure. So let's go ahead and get this out of the box and take a closer look. Alright, so here's the figure outside of the box. Now you also get the backdrop just like you usually do with most all NECA Ultimate figures. And it does have like a rainy type of look to the background. Alright, so taking a look at Roy here, just starting with the head sculpt or mask sculpt, NECA has really nailed the look of Roy. Except they made one little flaw, and they actually forgot to add the hole on the left side, his left side of the hockey mask. So there's one hole missing. And it's actually not just the figure itself. Even on the pictures they used for the box, it's missing that hole as well. And that's definitely an error. He should have one of those holes on the mask. But it is a small flaw because the rest of it is really like dead on accurate. Now in this version of Friday the 13th, the hockey mask does have the blue chevrons, and they're actually going different angles, which is true to the actual movie. And looking at the side of the mask, again, you do have that little flub where it is missing a hole right there. But the hockey mask looks really good from the side. And one thing I really like about this is you do see that stitching in the straps, which is also accurate to the movie. And looking at the other side, you could definitely see how they have the holes right on that side. And again, you do get that stitching, get a little bit of an adjustment band on the mask straps. I really like the detail in the hood that he's wearing. And I like that it makes his head look kind of big because he actually is wearing a hood that's not his real head, bald head. So really nice detail all around. And I really like the seam. How you can kind of see the seam in the back of the head kind of gives away that he is in fact wearing a hood underneath the hockey mask. And some of the holes on the mask aren't 100% perfect. Like this one needs to be like cleaned out just a little bit. So there's a couple little things, but again, I just really think they've nailed the look of that hockey mask. Just a couple little flubs here and there. Now the big reveal is the fact that this is definitely not Jason, and you can see it's clearly Roy. And man, I really like the detail on Roy's face sculpt here. Now you get a little bit of those teeth kind of coming through there. I really like the lines on the face, just, the lip, just the mouth, everything. I mean, just really nice details going on. You can see his eyes very clearly, and he's given that Roy death stare, which you kind of see a couple times in the movie when he doesn't have the Jason mask on. Again, you do have that seam that runs on the top of the head to the back, and then you even have the axe cut, which is authentic to when Jason got hit in the head with an axe in Part 3, and that axe cut remained throughout the movie series. But yeah, all around, just really good details in this face sculpt, and you got a little bit of the hair coming through there. So just excellent likeness. And one thing that's kind of interesting about this hockey mask is that the inside of the mask is the same color as the chevrons on the outside, so it's kind of like this light blue color. Now looking at the torso of Roy here, he is wearing that mechanic's outfit like Michael Myers wears, so I have no doubts that there's some similarities between at least one of those Michael Myers Ultimate figures. You do get the breast pockets on the front, and then you just have like the elastic waist here. They got the collar, which unlike Michael Myers is not popped up, so it's just flat. So that's a clear difference between him and Michael Myers. Another big difference is this battle scar, which Reggie the Reckless, which is a little kid in Part 5, actually runs into Roy with a subcompact tractor. So he actually runs into him. You think he's dead, but he's not. But that is, like, as far as I remember, that's the first real battle scar that Roy takes. So you do have that clearly done. And it's kind of funny, if you look at these pockets and this scar, it kind of looks like a sad face. And then over to the back, you just get some of those nice wrinkles on here, which is done really well. Definitely like that. Get a couple pockets on the Roy butt, and you can just see that elastic waistband. The hands that you get right out of the box are going to be a gripping hand for your right hand, and I think that's done pretty well. And then on his left hand, again, right out of the box, the ones he has on, is more of a relaxed hand, and the detail and line work and wrinkles, again, are just done really well on that hand. And if you look at the hands that come on this version of Roy, the Ultimate version, you notice they're not bloody. The one that came with the retro version were much bloodier hands. And just looking at the lower portion of the figure, you do get that same wrinkles going all throughout the figure, so just really nice details. You can see the seam does go all the way down through the crotch piece. If you look at the shoes, you do get some eyelets or eye holes, metal eye holes on the shoes where the laces are. So nice details there. Good detail in the soles. You do get two peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Over the back, you get that nice wrinkling as well. So again, I mean, overall, just great details all around. Alright, so Roy definitely has really good articulation when compared to like some of the Jason figures, so I'm really happy with the way they've done this. So first of all, the head does get a nice tilt. So if you want to have those creepy tilt poses for his head, you got it. He could look down a little bit, and he could look up pretty far. So really good head articulation. The arms go about that far up, and they go pretty much all the way down almost. They go out about that far. You might get them a little bit farther if you heat it up a little bit. What's really nice is you do get a double jointed elbow, which is awesome. Now it is NECA's own design, but you do get that articulation, and I think that's really going to help for those poses with the shears or hedge trimmers. But yeah, really cool that you do get that. You do get a swivel at the elbow, and then you get plenty of movement at the wrist. Nothing really in the torso here because of the way it's built. He can look, I guess, back, or he can lean back. And then he could go down, he could look down pretty far. So pretty good there. He can get a full Jean-Claude Van Damme split, or that high kick. So that's pretty cool. and then you can go pretty far out with the leg. And then you do have just the single jointed knee, which doesn't have a lot of room there. You can go down with the foot, up, and then you do get some ankle pivot. So overall, I mean, pretty damn good articulation for a horror figure, especially with those double elbows. Really a fan of that. Now before I get to the accessories that come with the figure, I do want to show you some different options in case you have some of those NECA Ultimate Jason figures. Now Roy actually can fit into some of Jason hockey masks. Now this is from the Part 4 Ultimate mask, and you can see he's got the bloody axe cut and he's got the more red chevrons. So that mask will fit on there. It's a little tight, but it will fit. And if you have that Ultimate Part 5 Dream Sequence Jason, also made by NECA, you can use that movie cover mask like you see on the box that comes with the actual figure. And that one will fit, but it doesn't really fit snug, so it'll just like come right off. So that's a bit disappointing. And then the skin tone doesn't match up real well. But it does fit, it does work for a picture. If I had one gripe about this figure so far, is I wish they would have gave us a removable version of this mask, or at least this head that would actually fit on the Roy properly. Alright, so taking a look at Roy's weapons here, all these pictures did not come with the retro version of Roy. So that's pretty cool. So all these are new. Now starting with this spear right here, this was actually one he used to kill Reggie's brother, Demon, and he actually stabs him through the porta potty. So that was a pretty cool one, and you can see it's all sharp, and it's a pretty unique weapon. And then the next one here is the Machete, which actually is different blood on each side. So this is a pretty good looking machete, and it does have those little rivets at the bottom. Now, I'm pretty sure he killed at least maybe 5 to 6 people with this one. Some of them were off screen, but you kind of just assume that he probably killed him with the machete since he was holding it. And Roy's next weapon is called a Gerak, which is pretty much a choking weapon. So it's basically a wooden, just like a branch that's on here, and then you have the leather strap with the rings, the metal rings. And Roy would just have his victim in here, and then he would just twist the branch to kill him. And he does dispatch one person in the movie with that. And then you could just, this is just a 2-piece construction, so you could just take this off, and then the other piece will come off as well. And then the branch itself is just like a rubbery type material, so it does have some flex to it, which is nice. But overall, pretty cool, kind of a brutal weapon. And Roy's first kill in the movie was with this flare, so it's pretty cool. It does come with that. You do get like the white handle with the red band around the top of the flare, and then you see the smoke coming off of here. And I like how it's got some reds, some blue, and even some light colors, even a white in there. So really nice detail on the flare, and it fits great in that right hand that he comes right out of the box with. And he also comes with a spike, and you don't actually get to see him like kill anybody on screen with this, but he does end up spiking the doctor to one of the trees. What weapon he was killed with remains a mystery because he was killed off camera, but he does use the spike to secure him to the tree, and you can see there is a bit of a like a curve to the top of the spike, and then it's got this sharper tip here, and it's done with like a gunmetal or like a dark gray. So pretty cool weapon. It fits a little loose in his hand, but I don't think it's something that people are going to really use a lot. Even though it fits loose, since it has a wide top, it just holds in there pretty good. Alright, and the last set of weapons that Roy comes with, these are actually weapons that came with the retro figure, but for the most part they are slightly different, so they're not just a complete reuse of those sculpts. So taking a look at the first one, you do have the Hedge Trimmers, and they have some nice blood detail on there, and you do see some teeth on the blades themselves, and they are functional. So Now you also get the Interchangeable Hand, which also came with that retro figure, and that's going to allow you to get a double-handed pose with these Hedge Trimmers, so that's really cool. The next weapon is the knife. You only see him kill one person with that, and you don't really see the knife very much at all on screen, but it is a badass knife. You do get the wood handle, got a fuller going through here, and it is bloody just like all the other weapons. You do get the meat cleaver, which is a primary weapon. He kills at least 3 people with that. It's got a hole in there, which is pretty cool, and you do have those rivets or pins on the handles, or on the handle, so pretty cool detail there. So overall, really nice selection of weapons. Here he is wielding the machete. Here he is wielding the meat cleaver, which again is one of his primary weapons, and man, look at the blood detail on that. Here he is holding the knife, and again, awesome blood detail. To interchange the hand, you just want to get a nice grasp on this. Got that. And then it does have that peg in there, and you just want to put this new gripping hand in. And then it takes a little bit to pop on there. So sorry I can't really do it on camera too well, but you can get it to go in there pretty well. And once you have that left gripping hand on Roy, you can get him in a proper dual-handed gripping pose with the Hedge Trimmers, and the closer you put these hands together, you can see that these are functional, which is pretty cool. And here he is holding the spear. Now you actually never see him on camera with this weapon, but I just went ahead and put him in a double-handed pose, and he looks pretty good. And here he is holding the Gerak weapon. Now it doesn't actually come with an axe, but if you have that Part 5 Dream Sequence Jason, he can hold that axe pretty good. And he actually kills a couple people with the axe in the movie, even though he's not included with it. And if you have the Part 2 Ultimate Jason, he actually comes with a curved machete. So if you want to use a curved machete for your Roy figure, you could do that. And I feel like he actually used the curved machete in a couple scenes in the movie. At least it looked like it to me. And if you look at the Friday the 13th Part 5 cover for that Dream Sequence Jason, you can actually see Tommy holding a curved machete, and he's the one that basically kills Roy at the end of Part 5. He hits him with a machete. So it kind of like realizes that cover, which is kind of neat. So again, if you have the Part 2 one, you could use that machete. For the first comparison, here he is next to a couple Jason figures. You have the Part 4 Jason, Final Chapter, and then you have the Dream Sequence version of Jason. And you can see the Dream Sequence version is actually a little bit taller than this Part 4 one. Now this is the older Part 4 figure, so it might have got a little taller when they did the Ultimate version. But overall, I think these look really cool next to each other. And I really like the wet look of that Dream Sequence figure. Here he is next to a couple newer NECA Ultimate Jasons. You have him from Freddy vs. Jason and from the 2009 remake, and you can see how much bigger this Freddy vs. Jason version is. He was definitely the tallest Jason, but I do like how both these Jasons are much bigger than Roy. Here he is next to the Ultimate Michael Myers figures. You have the Halloween 2 Myers and the 2018 version. And even though these guys are all wearing the same thing, you can see NECA went all out to make sure they're at least slightly different. You really see it in the size of the figures and the collars especially, and as well as the scarring, especially with this one and the Halloween 2 one. He's got the bullet holes, he's got the battle scar. But when you look at the wrinkles line up almost identical on the figures in some spots, particularly like the shorts, the pants here, and like the different sides of the shirt. So there's definitely, the wrinkles themselves do line up very similar, but they do add some different unique lines that kind of separate them. And then if you want to, if you have the Michael Myers, like the Halloween 2 version, or if you have the 2018 version, that head will actually fit on this body. For your NECA female comparison, here he is next to the Laurie Strode from the Halloween 2018 movie, and then the Shelley from Sin City, and I think they scale pretty well. And for the final comparison, here he is next to the retro version of Roy, which was the first figure of Roy we pretty much have ever seen. And amazingly, these guys really don't share a lot of the same parts. They're definitely unique. Now, NECA did get the holes right on this first mask, unlike this new one. But in terms of the way the mask actually looks, I like this one a lot better. It's lighter, which makes sense. I mean, this one was just too dark. He really didn't do a lot of battle with that, so it shouldn't have been that aged. And then even the way they've done the chevrons, they're angled up just a little bit more, which is nice. And then even the stitching on the hockey mask straps is non-existent on the retro one, but they definitely put it in the ultimate version. So that's really nice. Now, one thing that really took me by surprise was that they completely redid this head sculpt. So they didn't even use the same head sculpt that they had with the retro figure, which is really shocking to me. So you can see the hair is coming out, which is not existent on this figure, and the overall likeness just looks way better, in my opinion. This almost looks more like Gene Hackman. But they still did get the creases in here, the split. You don't quite see that seam like you do on this one. But overall, this is a huge step up from the retro figure. And just for fun, here they are both rocking the mask that you see on the box cover for A New Beginning. And this mask here actually comes with the Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation figure. And man, I really wish we would have got this shrunk down to actually put it on the Roy head sculpt, but we don't. Alright, so that's my review of the Friday the 13th Part 5 New Beginning Roy as Jason figure. And man, this is a figure that Friday the 13th fans have been wanting for a long time. As long as I've been a fan of NECA making Friday the 13th especially, and really even when Mezco made him, so many people used to request Roy. So when we got him as the retro figure, it was nice, but a lot of people, including myself, definitely wanted to see him in that ultimate format, or at least the full plastic format. So I'm definitely happy that we finally got him. There really isn't much to complain about with this figure. They're all really just minor gripes, like the little hole missing on the side of the mask. I am kind of surprised they missed that, and they even included it in the photos, but it is a minor thing that they missed. And as I mentioned already, I definitely wish we would have got this like VHS cover hockey mask like we see on the cover of the box. I feel like they could have just, you know, reused this Clark Griswold hockey mask and done that. And I do like that they included it with the Dream Sequence version of Jason, but it just doesn't fit right, so it doesn't quite work well enough for this Roy. I also wouldn't have minded seeing some of those newspaper clippings that you see in the movie that kind of give us the idea that this is definitely an imposter. I think it would have added a little bit to the figure itself, but that's definitely a long shot. I mean, overall, this is a badass figure. You get tons of accessories with it, more than you could ever ask for. And like I said before, the only weapon you really don't get that he killed people with is an axe. And if you have the Jason figures, there's plenty of axes to go around, so you should be fine finding that in your collection. So thanks for watching my review. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment or question if you have one. And please like the video. And until next time, guys, see ya.